Hey guys, so I wanted to tell you the story that I was thinking about earlier today. And the reason I want to tell you this is because it kind of goes against everything that I pretty much believe in. And I wanted to tell you guys how to avoid doing the same thing that I did in this situation. So a few years ago, I was entering a competition when I was still riding show horses. And it wasn't the kind of competition where you get to be sloppy, okay? You had to have your hair done, you had to have your makeup done if you're a woman. You had to have on all the appropriate clothes, your horse had to be clean, but yet you had to have true grit of any other rider. So anyway, I was taking in my horse, and she was fairly newly. She was newly broke. She wasn't extremely experienced when it comes to shows, but anyway, we entered the competition and we placed dead last. This horse is absolutely terribly mannered. I have never ridden a horse that I could not control whatsoever, and she happened to be one of them. And so we placed dead last, which was humiliating for someone who had been riding as long as I had. And so I got out of the show ring after being told that we placed dead last, and something scared her. I'm not sure if it was a truck starting. I don't know what it was. It could have been anything for all I know. And she reared up and she started violently pawing at the air and kicking and showing her teeth, and then she decided that she was going to bolt. I mean, this horse took off like a bullet. She ran as fast as she could. She was just tearing around the showgrounds. And honestly, I used all my training and experience to try to stop her, and I couldn't. She was just too strong. And I was just worried that she was going to kill somebody, so I held on and thought, okay, please don't kill anybody. Please don't kill anybody. And so she turned this really sharp corner and threw me off. And I made the mistake. You're not supposed to do this, but I did. I screamed when she threw me off, and then she tried to step all over me. I screamed, and you're not meant to do that. And when she started trying to step on me and walk all over me and pretty much trample my face off, one of my friends started, she was screaming because she was scared, but luckily she was far enough away that it didn't matter. And my instructor ran up to me, and I was expecting her to help me, but she didn't. She instead yelled at me and told me that I shouldn't have screamed, and that I should have had better control, and that I needed to get up and go get the horse. So nobody asked if I was okay or anything. Not even my dad didn't even ask if I was okay. So for the record, I was pretty banged up. It was not an easy fall. And I took off my helmet and my show blazer, and eventually we caught her, and she almost tore down the trailer. After that, here's a recap of that day. I had been humiliated in front of hundreds of people and other riders. So people who were less experienced than me, people who were more experienced than me, I was humiliated in front of everyone. I lost the competition, which I shouldn't have placed last, okay? I should have, whether I had won or not, it didn't matter. It's just whether you place last or not. That's not okay for someone that had been riding as long as I had. And I had a really bad problem with losing my own game at the time. And I'm not like that now. I'm fine. I'm okay with that now. But I didn't like to fail. I still don't like failing. But anyway, and everyone was super pissed off at me because of how the whole thing went. And I put other people at risk, and that was the worst part, that I put other people in danger. And that's never something I'm okay with. So after that, I still rode for a while after the accident, but I never showed again. I never went to another competition. And I eventually gave the horse to my instructor. And I sold all my tack. So I completely stopped. I didn't feel like I was good enough after that, and I think things would have been handled better. I don't like to blame things on other people, and I take full responsibility for the actions and the events of that day. I do. I blame myself for it. But I think things would have been a little bit less rough had I actually gotten a little bit of support. I didn't get one, "Are you okay?" I didn't get that. I got, "You know what, you need to get your arse up and go do something." That's what I got. And I did that, and, I didn't expect to be coddled, but the whole thing just didn't go as planned. But my point here is, don't don't do that. Don't quit. Don't completely walk away because you blew it. You know, what I could have done was I could have changed stables. I could have done a lot of things, but I didn't want to do it anymore. You know, and that was really low. I mean, not low. It wasn't low of me. It was very weak of me, which is not something I tend to be. But at that point, yeah, I was pretty much done. And it wasn't because I got hurt. It wasn't because I got hurt. It wasn't because I fell. It wasn't because I lost. It was because, as an experienced rider, those things are not meant to happen. And a lot of pressure was put on me to do very well. And, you know, a lot of pressure was put on me to be able to handle something very well that I couldn't, that was out of my control. So, even if something like this happens to you, try, and if you're gonna quit, then quit right then. Don't drag it out, you know, and at least do it diplomatically. And another thing is, if you want to avoid quitting, it doesn't matter what it is you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're in. If you're gonna avoid quitting, then try to avoid doing the same thing again by maybe not doing that particular thing for a while. And you always have to get back on, and that's what I was always told, but that's just my 2 cents. You know, so try to avoid things like that, and if you fall, get back on. It doesn't have to be horses, honestly. That's with anything. That's with, if you're in a car accident, you're gonna have to drive again. If you make a mistake in business, you're gonna have to do it again. You know, because you're not born knowing everything, and people my whole life have pushed me to be so perfect and so great at everything my entire life for so many different things that eventually I said, you know what, screw it. I'm not perfect. I will give my best effort, always, but I'm not perfect. So I'm not going to let anybody guilt me into quitting, because that's not how life works. So, I hope that this is helpful. I'm sorry if it sounds kind of harsh or weird, but good luck.